Hey Ringside crew, welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. And now here's your host, Joe Panther III.
Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode, the season 4 finale for the night shift on the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. Today, Ringside Crew is the last episode, season 4's last episode for 2025. I am Joe Panther III, and man, Ringside Crew, you're in for a treat. I have a gentleman that is one half of the tag team, The Now. This man is doing big things. He is also someone really big, really super awesome in the promotion, Awesome Championship Wrestling. Introduce yourself to my internationally known audience.
Well, hello, everybody out there. I am Vic Delicious, as you said, one half of the Now, the Awesome Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a long time coming. Very excited to be here. This is going to be fantastic. Probably your most watched episode.
Oh, please. It's the season finale. It's like, Big Bang Theory. You always want the last episode to be the most watched episode. You know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, what better than have one half of the Tag Team Champions
right here? Add your belts to my internationally known Wall of Fame. I have to ask my Papa Panther to reinforce the wall the end of last year because it started cracking and coming in. And I'm like, there's too many belts up there. Stay, but don't.
Good problem.
But, let's go back in your career. Who trained you?
Well, I started at World of Hurt Wrestling in Schenectady, New York. I was trained by a guy named Dave Danger and JP Black. World of Hurt Wrestling is still around to this day, but it was and always has been kind of a regional, smaller promotion in upstate New York. Those guys had their first crack at me. I trained with them for about 2 years, and it was a lifelong dream, man, just to actually like step into a ring. And like, I thought that all my dreams had been accomplished the first day of wrestling school. And I walked in there and I was able to just touch the ring. I thought, how cool is this that I get to actually touch a wrestling ring? It's what I'd always wanted to do. Since I was just a little kid, it was really my goal and my dream to get into pro wrestling. So, starting there was a great starting point for me. They taught me a lot of cool stuff, and like how I found them was really a chance encounter because I was going to college up in Utica, New York, playing football, and I was one of the team captains. We had actually started the program there at Utica College for football, which is still running very solid right now. But my parents came to visit me at school, and they brought me a newspaper from the town that they were living in, and it had a profile on World of Hurt Wrestling, and that a couple of the guys had just been at the Pepsi Arena at the time, which is now the MVP Arena, wrestling for WWE. And I was actually there. I saw the local guys wrestling there, and it said that they had a wrestling school in upstate New York. So literally the next week, I went down there with my dad and checked it out. I walked in and saw the ring, and then, like, it didn't matter to me what else they were going to say to me. I was in. So I was ready to go. We paid our deposit and off to the races we went. So that was in the year 2001. So I've been around training and wrestling for a very long time at this point. But if we just live in the now, it's like I started yesterday. So
wow. Awesome. Yeah. So did you have this whole your Vic Delicious down, or was it something that grew on you?
I was doing, like, I would wrestle all the time with my friends. Like, we would wrestle in the high school gym on the track mats. We would wrestle. That's actually the first time I met Hale Collins, my tag team partner. We've been friends since high school. We would wrestle on the mats, at backyard wrestling, at shows and stuff where we weren't killing each other. We were actually trying to wrestle, which was kind of cool. And I knew that my personality lended towards Number one, I was a pretty big guy, like semi-muscular. I was playing college football, so I could throw the weight around a little bit, and I knew that I had that side to me. But I also was my favorite wrestler growing up was Shawn Michaels, and I loved the flamboyance and the fact that he was, same like Dude Love, the fact that he got all the ladies and that he was a bit of a ladies' man. So I was driving down the road. They told me that I needed to pick a name for what I was going to be, and I was thinking about it, and the two guys that popped into my head were Buff Bagwell and Scott Norton, and they were in a tag team called Vicious and Delicious. And I decided I was going to change Vicious to Vic, change the spelling of Delicious, and that was it. And from that moment on, I was Vic Delicious. And the character itself, like I tried to create a little bit of a backstory to it, that I was from Intercourse, Pennsylvania. I was the icon of Intercourse, and I was the seventh son of the seventh son in a family, and decided that I was going to go out there and try my luck as a pro wrestler. So I thought that Intercourse, Pennsylvania was very risque at the time to say that you were from Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Fun fact, you have to drive through Blue Balls to get to Intercourse. Amazing. I'm not sure who decided that on the map, but it's amazing. And it kind of stuck with me. It got me noticed a little bit. It got me a little bit of initial attention because I was towing the line of what was acceptable and what wasn't. So that's kind of how Vic Delicious came about.
That's awesome. So when kind of crazy with the whole that's just amazing. I just love that. Every minute of it, I'm just like, love it.
Yep.
When was your first match with the Now?
Oh, as the Now, we didn't start teaming up until late 2005. So I had trained for about a year and a half, and then started going to Dr. Tom Pritchard was having camps at local promotion out in Massachusetts called WWA. It was run by a guy named Mike Sparta, who a lot of longtime wrestling fans will know that name. His brother Freddie Sparta was a referee for the WWE for a really long time. And he ran these shows out in Boston, and he used to do camps. So you would come in earlier in the day. He ran 2 days in a row. It was always a Friday night and a Saturday night. So you'd wrestle Friday night, Saturday morning, and then all day you would do the camp and then do a show that night in front of Dr. Tom. And I was, wrestling came very natural to me. I'm not trying to be braggadocious about it, but it was one of those things where I took to it very quickly because I had always wanted to do it. I felt like I was a student of the game. I'd studied it. It was something that I'd always wanted to do. So when it came time to get in there, I was just like, let's do it. Let's do it. So within a year and a half, I had gotten myself into a position where I was a standout at the camp. And it was me and Aaron Stevens, who went on to be Damian Sandow in WWE.
Wow.
And we were the two guys that were chosen to wrestle at the camp in front of Dr. Tom. And then we had a match on the show against each other. And we just kind of clicked, and our careers were very parallel for a little while, where we were always seemed to be running into each other. He had this look back in the day where he looked like Edge's brother almost. He was very similar in body type, long brown hair, and was just like, he was a blue chipper himself. He had been trained by Killer Kowalski, and he was looking for an opportunity as well. So that Dr. Tom was one of the guys who was booking WWE extras at the time. So I got my first booking with the WWE in January of 2003. I had my first WWE match on January 23rd, 2003 against Sean O'Hare in Providence, Rhode Island, which was an interesting evening. Like, Sean was a very physical guy. So for me to get in there and hang with him was a big deal. And then the next night, I had a match at the MVP Arena up in Albany against my trainer, Dave Danger. And I won the match. I had the Fink announced that I had won the match. So I was there. I got to have the Fink announce my name, which I thought was pretty cool. but I had to use my real name at the time because they didn't want my gimmick of Vic Delicious. It was very funny. Sergeant Slaughter was the guy who would choose what your name was going to be when you were going to go out there, and a lot of times, kind of like they'd make up names or something whatnot, and he would ask me like what was my gimmick name and then what was my real name, and every time I told him what my gimmick name was, he was like, "Nope, we're going with your real name." And just recently, I saw Sergeant Slaughter at an 80s con in New Jersey for ISPW Wrestling, and I went up to him. I said hello, and he remembered me. But I've seen him lots of times throughout my career. But I wanted to ask him. I said, "Hey, all of those times that I wrestled for WWE and was an extra, how come you wouldn't let me be Vic Delicious?" And he told me he was protecting me from using that name because it would be something that at some point it could be a gimmick that they would use on television. And he wanted it to be not something where I was going out there and just getting job matches, for lack of a better way to explain it. So, it would force me to have to be that character. So in those matches, so he wanted me to be something different. And a lot of times in pro wrestling, when you're taken out of your comfort zone, sometimes you either sink or swim. And for me, it was an opportunity to just kind of be myself, take the pressure off, and go out there and do my thing. And it worked out really well for me. After that, I went to OVW and did their tryout camp in May of 2003. And they selected 5 people from that camp to come and join OVW as non-contracted talent that was able to work out with developmental. And I was one of those guys. So I transferred schools down to Louisville, Kentucky. I left my junior year, so I was captain of the football team and all this stuff. And I had to just tell my teammates that I was going to pursue pro wrestling. And right after that, I tried out for Tough Enough. I was on Tough Enough 3, where they did the tryouts in Las Vegas. Or maybe it was Tough Enough 2. Might have been Tough Enough 2. I can't remember now. Tough Enough 2, I think. I don't remember which one it was. One of the Tough Enoughs. But I was in Las Vegas for that. I didn't make that. But then I was already going to OVW, so off I went. And for the next 2.5 years, I was training with all of the WWE superstars on the way up. Our class had a lot of big shoes to fill because we had just had at OVW Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista. All those guys had just moved up to the next level. And now it was the next crop of guys. So it was Rob Conway and Nick Dinsmore and Nova and Mark Jindrak, and Sean O'Hare was there as well. And they were developing lots of younger guys too. Johnny Jeter, Mike Mondo, Bobby Lashley, Carlito. It was kind of like the who's who of what you ended up seeing on SmackDown from 2004 all the way to 2008 or 9. Chris Masters. I could just rattle off all the guys.
John Cena too. I think you mentioned John Cena too.
Yeah, well, John Cena had just left when I got there, so he had already been called up to the roster. But he kept his ties to OVW. He would always pop in. He would do the Six Flags shows that they would have over the summer. All those guys would come back and work out and beat up all the younger guys.
Time to get your ass kicked. John Cena's back. What?
So it was really cool. And during that time, I was one of the first guys that was not only training there to try to get a contract, but I was also still working WWE extra work. So I would do WWE work on Monday and Tuesday, and OVW would tape on Wednesday, and then Thursday was practice, and then Friday was OVW shows. And I was wrestling all the time. It was really great. I learned so much from Jim Cornette and Danny Davis and Rip Rogers. They taught me how to have a really long career in pro wrestling, because there's a lot of times where you could be a guy who sacrifices a lot of your body and doesn't necessarily work smart. And they were big proponents of having everything make sense, telling a story, and doing moves for the right reason at the right time to get the right reaction. And it wasn't always about the oohs and the ahs from the crowd, which you see a lot of even now to this day. That's a lot of guys are working for the pop of the crowd and not necessarily for telling a good story. And not to cut anybody down, and that's not what the goal is of that, but it's it can be confusing as a young wrestler trying to make their way in this business because there's a lot of competition, and you feel that if you get that reaction from the crowd, you got something to hang your hat on. That at least they participated, you know. In reality, the goal is that when the kids are in the car on the ride home, that they remember who you were, and that they want to come back and see you again, and that they're talking about, that Vic Delicious guy, that guy was, I back there and knew him.
Little boy going, I like Vic Delicious. What'd you say?
You know, it's really, to me, it's very much about that, and being somebody that's memorable and somebody that can end up being a person who sells tickets. That's the bottom line of this whole thing, is to make some money. So back to the story there, I'd done a WWE dark match against Eminem the night before they debuted on SmackDown, and they debuted and became tag team champions. And the match that we had was in Moline, Illinois, and it was supposed to be me and Chad Collier against Eminem. And just as the music started to play and they were going to send me and Chad out through the curtain, I'm literally walking towards the curtain, and somebody puts their hand in front of Chad and stops him and pushes another guy out there with me. And now everything that we had talked about what was going to happen, what we were going to do, was now I'm in there with somebody I haven't even talked to about any of this. He thought he was having a whole other match, and they were doing it to not just test us, but really test Eminem and see how good they were. Really, can you call it on the fly? Can you make it happen in the ring and not be a four-finger stinker? And Joey Matthews is probably one of the best wrestlers that I've ever been in the ring with, and I fully trust him. Fully knew that he could do what they were looking for us to do, and I was able to kind of adapt and just make it work. And when we came back, it was a fantastic match. People were very excited about it. And then I had a match on SmackDown, or not, on Velocity, excuse me. It was with SmackDown, but it was on Velocity. It was me and my OVW tag team partner, Mike Taylor, and we wrestled Paul London and Spanky in a tag. And when the match was over and we came back through the curtain, every person was standing there applauding. And they, I was like, man, this is great. Like, I must be onto something here. Like, when do you come back through and everybody's standing up and clapping for you? Like,
they're staring at their boots, staring at their phone nowadays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's really ever clapping.
Especially for a Velocity match. I mean, you never know who's paying attention to that, who's not. And then in June 2005, I had a match on International Heat against CM Punk, and just Ring of Honor World Champion, and heading into the Summer of Punk right before the end of that run there, and then he was signed to WWE, and the match we had was a great match. He finished me with a top rope leg drop, popped my eardrum, so that was a little snafu, but other than that, like, everything went really well. And when I came to the back, I was sure that I was getting a contract. A bunch of guys came up to me. They told me, hey, talent relations is going to come talk to you. Just be cool. Don't sign anything yet. Make sure you have a chance to read it. Talk to your people, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I was very excited. Like, I stood around waiting, and then that conversation just never happened. And it turned out that they weren't going to air the match on television because they felt that maybe I had too much of the match and it wasn't necessarily featuring CM Punk in the right way. So they just didn't air it. It still aired internationally, so that there is like footage of it out there. You can find me versus CM Punk, but it was kind of like a story, a double-sided story there, because you come to find out that their creative team wasn't necessarily very super high on CM Punk at the time, and to know what to do with him. And when he got sent to OVW, he got to work with Paul Heyman, because he had come in after Jim Cornette left, and he was now in charge of the creative direction of OVW. So that really set off CM Punk and Paul Heyman's relationship, because they got to really work together in OVW, which was really cool. For me, I was frustrated. I had been there for 2.5 years and hadn't. Everybody around me had gotten a developmental contract, but me, and I had really felt that I was doing the right things and that I had put myself in a position where I should have at least earned a developmental contract. And it turned out that, we're our own worst enemies because sometimes we're just not aware of how we carry ourselves and um, what we need to work on. And sometimes you count on other people to give you some of that feedback. And sometimes you got to be a little more self-aware. And there were just other things that I should have been working on and practicing to get myself into that position instead of blaming anybody else. It's better to point the finger back at you and figure out what it is that you're doing that you need to get a little better at. So I had made the decision at that point that I was going to leave OVW. And if I was as good as I thought I was, that I was going to go out there and prove it. And at the time, the indies were pretty hot. Ring of Honor was doing really well, and it was there were lots of places to work and kind of prove yourself, and that's what I figured I needed to do. A lot of times, it's good to just get a change of scenery, and OVW was trying to feature some different guys on the television show, and there's just so much talent there at the time that it was hard to just like stand out from anybody else because they had to use contracted guys on the television show. That was the deal. That's why you're a developmental talent at OVW. The people from WWE wanted to see their contracted people getting work. So that was the point where I decided to leave, and I moved back to the Northeast. And at the same time, my tag team partner Hale had been training at Johnny Rod's school, and he actually started a year before me in 2000 down in the famous Gleason's gym under the Brooklyn Bridge. Same place Tommy Dreamer had come from, same place that Devon Dudley came from. A lot of ECW alumni, a lot of WWE guys, and Johnny Rod's has quite the history of who he's trained and where he's been in his career. So Hale had a really good base for his training, and he had done some of those Dr. Tom camps and Tommy Dreamer camps, actually. And he called me up one day, and he said, I think I got this idea that I want to be Hale Collins the Now. And I said, man, that name is really good. Why don't we be the Now? He's like, you would do that? And I was like, yeah, man, like, let's do this. Like, we've known each other for a really long time. We've been friends since we were kids. We both got into the same career after high school and wanted to do this. And let's see if we can make it work. And like, Hale hadn't had the same opportunities that I had had. So for him, he was teaming with me and also like learning on the fly because I had been able to wrestle with all of these WWE talents and been in that farm system. And like, I had really gone to like graduate school for pro wrestling, and Hale was still trying to like make his way and get into the right positions to be seen by the right people. And it's not as easy as it ended up being for me to get noticed. So Hale was all in, man. Like all the things about being a tag team and learning how to like, we coordinated our entrance and we wanted to make sure we had matching gear and we wanted to have music and we wanted to like have a certain personality when we were out there. And I watched how they put together Eminem, and I watched how they put together the Heartthrobs and several other teams down in OVW. And I watched how Jim Cornette let these guys come up with their own ideas, and that he fine-tuned them and refined it just a little bit and made it so that it was suitable to be seen by a lot of people. So I kind of took that formula that I had seen work for those guys and I put it out there for us. And we had our first match in late 2005, and then we've been teaming together ever since.
Wow. Let's go a little bit further in. You have the tag team title. I'm just going into about ACW.
Yeah.
You're the tag team champions down there and now. And let's talk about ACW. How you guys got your start with the ACW? When was the first show?
Yeah, we we had started House of Hardcore with Tommy Dreamer in 2012, and it was the three of us kind of got together and started doing that, and then it kind of took off a life of its own where Tommy was really building House of Hardcore into something that was super big. But at the time, Hale and I had just, both of us were starting families, and our lives were just like in different directions. And fast forward to now we're in this time, and what used to be the Mid Hudson Civic Center, that's now the MJN Center, was really looking to have some pro wrestling back in the building. They had some other local wrestling that had been in there, and things didn't work out as they were hoping to, and they weren't coming back as often as they hoped. So they knew that Hale and I were local and that we had the ability to do this, and they got together with us and wanted to like see what our interest was. And we had some other partners, people that we had really trusted that had the right connections in the local area, that had access to the local radio stations and the local newspapers. And another one of our partners is like really great at live events. He works at one of the biggest live event facilities in the area and helps to build that up and make it something. So we got together with those guys. We had some dinner and we talked about if we could make this happen and what we'd want it to be and how we would want it to look and what would be the name and all of that stuff. And right around September of 2024, we decided we were going to do it. And we started reaching out to some of the talent and deciding, well, what would be a main event? How would we make this happen? I had gone to OVW with Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler. I was there for his very first day of training, the very first day he ever took a bump. So I reached out to Nick, and he had just finished up his WWE run, and he was heading into TNA. And he was actually, I think he was TNA champion at the time. So he just started with TNA. And our main event was going to be Nick Nemeth in that main event. And we knew that we wanted that to happen. And our original main event that we had scheduled was the TNA champion, Nick Nemeth, against Tom Latimer, the NWA champion. And as soon as we announced it, it was like hellfire. Everybody just kind of lost their minds, and they didn't want, NWA didn't want this, TNA didn't want this. So we ended up going a different direction, and we went with Nick Nemeth and Matt Riddle, which was it was a phenomenal match. They had never
there.
before. Yeah. Yep. And it did really well. We sold that building out on January 4th, 2025. It was an electric atmosphere. We had Sandman come out as a surprise.
Yep.
And really like set the tone for what we were going to do with Awesome Championship Wrestling, because we were big fans of ECW growing up. We knew what kind of wrestling we liked and we were into, and we liked that when we'd go to a show that we'd be kept on the edge of our seat and on our toes about what was going to happen next. And ECW shows, there was never a dull moment. It was one thing into the next, into the next, into the next. And there was always, every match had a story, and so you were into like why the guy was there and what was going on. So we wanted our style to be just like that, but with upscaled 2025 production quality, and create the setting when you walk in where you see that it's an event. So we had the turnbuckles with the logo on it. We had the ring, the guardrails with the logo on it. We had a big giant jumbotron that covered the whole stage. There was music videos playing and music as soon as you walked into the building, and set everything up for what the night was going to be. And that's really set the tone for what Awesome Championship Wrestling is. And 5 shows later, we're coming back for our 1-year anniversary, January 3rd at the MJN Center. And it's really building up to be something that you're not going to want to miss. It's really incredible the amount of feedback we've gotten. Ticket sales are incredible right now, so we're far.
It looks like you guys are going to have a great night for that Poughkeepsie Rumble. Like,
yeah.
If you want to talk about some of the matches you've already announced.
Yeah, our ACW champion is newly crowned at the last show, Matt Cardona. He was able to survive the 4-person match with Nick Nemeth, Matt Riddle, and Richard Holiday, our champion, and walked away with the championship at the end, which was incredible. What kind of a better flag bearer could you have for your company than Matt Cardona? Yep. Just back down to Zack Ryder. I mean, he's riding this high of his career, And as soon as he won the championship, the first person that came out to interrupt him was Mike Santana, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And subsequently, Santana doesn't have that championship right now, and that was a bit of controversy that's been going on for a little while now. Fans have been talking about it. Mike's going to end up with his rematch very soon. But Mike Santana against Matt Cardona for our main event at the Poughkeepsie Rumble this year. It's two of the best talents in the world. Matt Cardona has never beaten Mike Santana. So it is really a pick 'em. Who's going to win this one? Who's going to walk out the champion? And as far as ACW goes, I don't think we have a loser in the whole thing, because whoever ends up being the champion is a perfect person to hold that title and be the guy that we promote going forward. I'm very excited to see how that one turns out.
It's going to be exciting. And you also have your ACW Women's Championship match there.
We have our champion, Indy Hartwell. She won her match at the last show and then was interrupted by Shotzi Blackheart, who has been chasing Indy all across the wrestling scene for the last few months. And she just beat her for the House of Glory Women's Championship a couple of weeks ago. And she could be the one that has Indy's number. So she released an incredible promo. If you haven't had a chance to see it, check out our social media so you can see Shotzi Blackheart's promo. It was super cinematic. It was very cool. And Indy too. I mean, she's a great talker, and she's looking forward to this too. And it's one person trying to take everything from somebody and the other person not willing to let it go. So how that's going to turn out, it's going to be one you're going to want to see.
Yeah.
The real one, formerly known as Enzo Amore, is going to win the national championship against Jersey Shore's own Zach Clayton. Who Zach Clayton is, in my opinion, probably the most untapped talent in all of wrestling, because he has not been overexposed. He's barely been seen. He was in AEW for a little while and most recently in TNA, but this guy is just filled with talent, filled with charisma, filled with a chip on his shoulder. He feels he's got something to prove, and he's already had a match with Enzo, or Real One, excuse me. He's already had a match with Real One and came up on the short end of the stick. So this rematch, I really feel this could be the night that you see a brand new national champion in ACW.
I think so too. It may happen. We're all in for a treat. So are we gonna see a match from the Now that night, or is that undecided yet?
No, we are teaming up with Tommy Dreamer. Actually, Dreamer was the guy who came out and congratulated us when we won this championship, and we were having a victory celebration, I guess, in the locker room after the show, and Sent to Slaughter, who we defeated for these titles, burst into the locker room, started screaming at Tommy Dreamer and shouting expletives across the building about what a conspiracy this is and what a setup, and how Dreamer's getting everything he wanted, and it's all just a bunch of bullshit. But Tommy Dreamer put out the challenge, and it will be the Now and Tommy Dreamer against Danny Moff, Sean Donovan, and their manager stepping into the ring for the first time, Josh Chernoff. So there's a lot on the line there. I'm very excited to get my hands on Josh Chernoff. Those guys, we've had quite the year with them building up this story, and it started out with a tables match last year. It led into a cage match. Then it was we interrupted their match, came out with some steel chairs and attacked them. Then they came to my wedding and interrupted my wedding, and they crashed.
Oh my gosh!
With just kind of showed up right as the best man speeches were happening, and barreled into there. There was almost a giant brawl at my own wedding. Me and Danny Moff got into a fist fight at the International Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year because he just couldn't keep his mouth shut when he walked past me and said something about my wife, and that was the end of that. So the ladder match was kind of what we thought was going to be the culmination of this. We figure if we could beat them and get these belts, that would be the end of those guys. But just like the turd that won't flush, they just will not go away. So
kind of call Roto-Rooter. I think Tommy Dreamer is the version of Roto-Rooter to get rid of those turds. Jeez.
We hope so. Dealing with that in Poughkeepsie is going to be a big deal. Tommy Dreamer and his history with the MJN Center. He broke his back in that building for ECW. The
Ugh.
first hardcore show was in that building. He has a big history there. And every time that Tommy Dreamer's name has been on the bill for the MJN Center, the building's sold out. And he proudly tells everybody that. So I think this one will be no different. And I'm excited to team with him because he's a guy who's been our mentor for a really long time.
Awesome. Is there anything we could talk about? Like, we're not going to talk about the Rumble. So far you have some big names there, like the Greek God. He's announced so far.
Yep.
He's very familiar with dudes at ringside. Good guy, very good guy. They have in your corner. Like,
I think a lot of Greek God Papadon. He's a guy who's been around for a really long time too, and deserves an opportunity to show the world what he's capable of. And he was one of the first guys we reached out to when we knew we were doing this Rumble again. We only have 20 spots. You know, we thought about making it a 30-man, but we kept it at 20. And we knew one of those spots should go to some really talented people. And Greek God Papadon was one of them. He was all about it, very excited to be part of it. So, you know, we have him. We have a guy, Vinny Pacifico, who's not been on our shows before, but he's making his way all around the world with his energy drinks and showing everybody.
Yeah, I know Vinny.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But we also have some really big guys. Like when I say big guys, I mean physically intimidating big guys. We have a 7-footer in Ox Adams. He's 7 foot tall, 350 pounds, brute of a dude. Big Trouble Ben Bishop, who's another 7-footer that's going to
big trouble.
Wrecking Ball Legursky back again.
Oh, wow.
He was screwed out of the championship last year in the end of the Rumble. Richard Holiday gave him a nut shot and screwed him out of it. So he's back to avenge that loss. We have Vargas from New Jersey, big dude, going to be in there. Yusufer, going to be in there. Dark STG, another big, giant dude who's very scary. Yeah, man, the list just kind of goes on and on. Like Adam Ace, a local guy who's looking to make a name for himself, is going to be in there. A guy that I've known since my very first day of wrestling school named Jeff Starr, who's been around the scene for a really long time. He actually even helped to train me when we first started. And he's looking to get back in the ring. And as soon as I saw him, I said, Jeff, would you come wrestle for us? And he said, yes. So to me, he's like the dark horse to win this thing because he's got a 25-year plus career in pro wrestling, and he knows what it takes, and he's really hungry to get back into like a real main event spot. So I'm super excited he's going to be part of this. Nunzio and like Guido is going to be on it.
I love Nunzio. Every time he sees me, he never came on this podcast. He must see my glasses, or maybe just feels the energy out of me. And he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like he's like, I don't know him. I'm like, my friend's like, "How do you know him?" It's Nunzio. Doesn't everybody know Nunzio? Like,
fantastic. Danny Doring, also ECW legend, going to be in there. And then we got 4 surprises. So 4 open spots. I can't tell you who they're going to be, but I know that this is going to be something that's going to be very exciting. I think the wrestling world is going to be talking about this Poughkeepsie Rumble after this show is over. It's going to be something that everybody is going to want to see and go back and watch. And I implore you, if you feel that way, you should be there because you're going to want to feel the energy in that building that night. It is going to be something very special.
So any of the fans that are watching this from like the Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey area that want to attend this show for ACW, where can they get tickets?
You can go to thisisacw.com, and it's super easy right there. You grab your tickets. Ticketmaster is our ticket provider. You can also buy the meet and greet sessions where you meet with the wrestlers beforehand. We start the meet and greet at 4:30. Show starts at 6:30. So you have an opportunity to meet who you want, get autographs, get things signed, take pictures. A lot of the wrestlers, if you're not buying a meet and greet, they're still there to say hi and shake your hand and all that good stuff, which is what we've always wanted. Part of these shows is to have access to the stars that are going to be on it because you're paying your hard-earned money to come to the show. And if you want to meet somebody in particular, you should have that opportunity. So yeah, you head to thisisacw.com and everything is super easy right in front of you. If you happen to be in the area, you could also go to the MJN Center box office, avoid Ticketmaster fees, and buy your tickets right there. If you're thinking about coming but you're not sure, I would highly suggest you make that decision soon because tickets are selling really, really fast. So I am very sure this show will sell out. We usually have a very decent walk up to the show, but for people who are usually the walk up and buy the ticket on the day of, I would suggest you don't do that and just get your ticket now. They also make really great holiday gifts. Getting to Poughkeepsie is super easy. It's, straight off the highway. You can get there very easy from 84, taking the thruway. Also, trains come right to Poughkeepsie. The station's right down the street from the building. And there's lots of hotels in the area. Right now, prices at hotels for this area are actually pretty affordable. This is off-peak season in this area, so if you're looking to come and stay the night, you can most likely get a room that's not so expensive and not too far away from the building. So there's great food in this town. I would definitely recommend finding some pizza because the pizza.
Oh yeah, burgers, pizza, sandwiches.
Yeah, we got a lot of pretty well-known delis and pizzerias and even some great restaurants in the area. So you can get everything you want by making a weekend of it. It's going to be very much worth it. If for some reason after this show is over you don't think it's worth it, make sure you tell me because I want to know that. We'll take care of you. But I am very, very confident that this is something that everybody's going to want to be a part of because it's really special.
I agree. I totally agree. Last year's Rumble was phenomenal. I had so much fun, except I had to see Mr. Holiday win the belt. But that's a different story for another day. And I'm glad we didn't bring it up during the podcast because that was the last message I sent you. I say, just don't tell Richard Holiday, please. Don't tell him about the podcast, the episode, because he would have blew up the chat and it would have ruined the whole vibe. Like, what about me? What about Richard Holiday? I'm like, I don't know, Richard Holiday. I may be 5'1", but I still have that little cat edge. Then I was like, yes, hi. He's like, hi, Joe. And I'm like, hi, Richard.
Well, if you're 5'1", you have different rarefied air than he does way up here, like 6 foot.
Yes, he looked down on me and I'm like, he said something about my my glasses. And then I did this. My mustache is internationally known.
That's amazing.
And he was like, oh, hello. It was a mustache encounter. Like,
dude,
I may even just shave the beard off for that day because this is my winter look, like a beard, because it's almost off season. People say it's a hockey beard. It's an off season beard for me. I may even shave the beard off and go back to the mustache for the show. So,
well, you had various looks in that intro that you played with all the different stuff. So I mean, you rock all kinds of looks. I can tell.
Yes, I have I'll be wearing either a green jacket or a blue jacket, or I may get a new coat for Christmas. You never know.
Never know. Santa good to you.
Yeah, my parents may gift me a new coat. I got a Christmas one, but that would be weird bringing that in January.
Yes.
You drunk, Joe? I had a little too much to drink before the show.
W awesome ale, and you had too much.
Yes, gotta get myself ready. But I want to thank you so much. Wait, what was that? Sorry, what'd you say?
You have to try the ACW awesome ale when you get to the building. We have our very
own. Gotta try some of that. That sounds good. I'm gonna try some of that.
You're gonna like it. It's good stuff.
Ooh. Oh yeah, definitely. And I also do reviews on the channel. So if you ever need someone to do a review, I could do a review for you at the show in the corner.
Okay.
Everybody turn to me. I'm gonna need to go in the back where there's no music, no copyrights, please. YouTube hates that.
You've offered me a couple of different opportunities to find a place for you, so I'm gonna see what I can do about finding a job for you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, I got my I need something to do while I'm not doing shows, or if I need a show to go to, Papa Panther could join me one day and be like, "Hey, this is my dad. Like he's my dad. He's the son of he's the son of a former wrestler. He doesn't know much, but he learns through me. Like people come running up to my dad like he's a celebrity. They're like, Papa Panther. He's like, so.
As someone who lost their dad a year and a half ago, make sure you value that time because
totally I do. My dad doesn't really watch wrestling, but he learns from me, and he kind of like he takes what he gets. He's like, oh yeah, I enjoy it, but not a fan of it, but he enjoys it.
Cool.
I know he enjoys it. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Once again, how can my fans follow you and ACW on social media?
Well, this is acw.com for number one. That's our website. You can follow us on Facebook, Awesome Championship Wrestling. Hale and I have a personal page. It's both of our first names. So if you type in Vic Hale, that's our name on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram as Vic Delicious, and on Twitter or X, whatever it's called in your world, as The Now Vic. So please give me a follow, say hello, tell me you heard the show, all that good stuff. ACW is This Is ACW on Instagram and on X. So you can find all of our updates there. If you haven't seen any of the promos leading up to this show, I highly suggest you head to our social media, because one of our strengths, I feel, is that we do a really good job with sharing the promotion for the show right there online, so you can see all the promos from every talent, hyping up their match, telling you why you should be there and what's important. It's one of my favorite things about what we do at ACW.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I can't wait for the Rumble. I can't wait to hang out, meet you guys. Try to get there early enough because I work till like 3, but my boss lets me leave early on Saturdays because there's nothing epic to do afterwards. I said that live on a microphone, and somewhere my other chef's going, "Nothing to do, huh, Joe? We need you a little longer on the Saturday the 3rd." Awkward Joe Gull. I think I'm needed in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
I wish you would do. Then I fade away in the darkness. Why are you doing the water boy? Oh, as I'm trying to fade away, hit the door 4 times. I'm trying to get out of the room. There's no way to fade out. I gotta go.
Irish goodbye. Just say you gotta go to the bathroom and then disappear.
But better than a Puerto Rican goodbye. You just keep saying goodbye to everybody in the room, and they still see you. That's my goodbye at work. Because it's like I do like the what's it called, goodbye from the what's the family, like goodbye, good night Becky, good night John, good night, and I'm like good night, good night, good night, good night.
Night, John boy.
Good night, John boy. They make fun of me like good night, John boy, good night, boy. I'm like, stop, I'm leaving already. See you later. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for helping me close season 4. I really hope to see you all in Poughkeepsie at the Poughkeepsie Rumble. That's a Joe Panther order. I order you all to be at the Poughkeepsie Rumble. I want to see all of your faces in the crowd cheering and yelling for all these men at this Rumble. This man deserves it. Buy all your tickets. It's a great Christmas gift, and that's a clip you guys need to make on ACW. Joe Panther III says you guys need to get tickets for Christmas, put them in the kids' stockings, and that'll be the best. Give you a chance to see all your favorite indie wrestlers. You never know who you'll see in that Rumble. There's so many awesome stars, awesome stars that you could see for a less price than that you would see at a WWE or an AEW show at an awesome championship wrestling show. And that is it. That is from me. Give you a tip, collar pop.
Couldn't have said any better myself, man. Great job.
And thank you so much. I am Joe Panther III.
I am Vic Delicious. Thank you very much for having me, my brother.
And I will catch you in the next one. See you in 2026 and see you at the Rumble.